Good day, world. It's N.O.vate, Take Back BRC, T2B, Detroit Crime Story Part 3. This one's gonna be deep, bro. I'm not gonna hold no punches with this one. And this is gonna be one story. I think this one story is gonna take about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. I've told it before, so I've kind of retracted a lot of videos. I was gonna repost them, kind of editing places where I was kind of too sporadic or too emotional, but I said, nah, just retell the story, bro. You telling these things for the first time, so you should have ran this by yourself first. But this Detroit story, it's a West Side story, and as every other story on the page, the main premise of the story is to give glory to how God saved my life. Man, this one right here is what made me change my life. This is what made me be like, I got to get out this city. Like I gotta go somewhere and submit my life to God. I ended up doing something stupid and robbing somebody, thinking I could rob this person and leave the city, and ended up hurting people I love. But that's a story I won't tell. Not online anyway. Not without talking to those people. But this one is about me and my brother Leon. I'm gonna call him Lee for the rest of this video. I'm sure he won't mind, because me and him talk about these stories openly on Facebook. So I'm sure he won't mind when I tell these stories, because he was with me mostly all the time. All these times I almost got killed, he was with me. He's still on Facebook. He gave his life. We disappeared from each other for 20 years. We met back and we both gave our life to God. Just so happens that God was saving us as kids. He was younger than me. When that stuff was happening to him, he was about 13 or 12. He was about 13. I was about 17. We out there when I did this, he was about 17. I was about 20. When this incident happened. So it's happened in Detroit. I'm gonna tell you how it started. I'm gonna tell you how the devil set me up, man. Now you remember the last story I told you? If you watch the other stories, I tell a story about when I threw the bottle, and the bottle went through the girl window, and the guys came and shot my boy in the mouth. It's these same guys. I didn't even know it. So the people I'm beefing with are these same guys, but these guys ran a hotel. So I just got out. I had did from like 17 to 19. So I was about 20, hustling. And before I went, I used to hustle at this motel on Michigan in Wyoming called the Star Motel. If you're from Detroit, I don't know if the Star Motel is still there. So when I got out, I'm like, I'm gonna go back to the Star. My boys were weight dealers, so they didn't even mess with rocks. I was the only one out of my crew that was in the street dealing rocks. Like, I'm gonna go back to, because they would have told me, like, don't go there, I'm sure. But I used to try to go off and do my own thing to impress them. I'm like, I'm gonna run the Star Motel. I'm gonna get it back jumping. Not knowing these dudes already had it. So then the young guy, Leon, he had to be about 17. He was in high school. I was about 19. He had a girl that went to high school with him and her older sister. So it was one girl that just graduated McKenzie, and there was one girl that was in McKenzie that we took to the Star Motel. So he telling me, like, for the girl that's with you, you got to give her $75. I'm like, all right. So we go in the hotel. I'm like, yo, I'm about to go buy some Hennessy. So I drive to the liquor store. But on the way to the liquor store, I go downstairs, and it's some crackheads downstairs. And they're like, you got anything? I'm like, yeah. I had about a half ounce, and I had a half ounce and a gun on me at this hotel. I left the gun in the hotel. I left the drugs in the hotel, but I had a few rocks on me. So I went in their room. It's two white guys downstairs. All of this is going to tie into each other. So the white guy's like, yo, man, I'm selling them. And they brag, like, we got about 10 racks under the bed. You want to see it? I'm like, nah, I don't want to see it. But I'm thinking to myself, like, oh, this is a crack house at the Star. I'm like, I ain't know they were working for some killer type dude. So I'm like, wow. I'm like, yes, there's money up here. That's all I'm thinking. That's what I'm selling. I sell them the stuff and I go to the store. It take me a while. By the time I go back upstairs, my boy then slept with both of the girls. And the other girl wanted another. I gave her $75 before I left. So now she like, I want another $75. So then I go to my stash, and my stash all messed up. I'm like, no, I ain't gonna say that. But I flipped out at the hotel. Leon, chill, G-Money, chill. Man, I punched the glass mirror out, and there was a camera right there. We in the hotel room. I'm throwing stuff around. I'm flipping out. I throw something through the mirror, and it was a compartment wall with an old, like, a VCR camera right there. No, with a regular camera, like the camera that be in the wall, but a big one with a big old camera just looking dead at the beds. I got dope. I'm like, we gotta get out of here. So we run. So I go downstairs. We tussling with the girls. I'm still mad at the girl. God forgive me. The older girl was pregnant, and I didn't know it, and I kicked at her. I didn't try to kick her, but I know when I kicked at her, I scared her, and she kind of stumbled down the steps. And her and the girl left. That's what got me in trouble because the guys that she went to, her baby father was the same guy with the same people that I threw that bottle at. So they was like, this nigga again. I don't even think they put it together. I'll tell you how they found out how they found me. But this is just how the devil was trying to get me. Just tying the net around my life with these people and with me. But really just trying to, like, I'm going to kill this. Really just, he be trying to kill us when we in them streets like that. So I go tell Leon, I'm like, bro, the white boys downstairs got a car. Yeah, so I didn't have a car. When I went downstairs to sell the drugs, I had the white boy take me to the liquor store. He had a car. We caught the cab there or something. So, or I had a crackhead take me there or something. So, and I did, that's what happened. So, I'm like, yo, they got a car downstairs, bro. I'm gonna get him to take us back to Detroit so we can get out of Dearborn. Because at this point, you can hear sirens and all type of shit. I'm like, I don't know if it was for us, but I remember hearing sirens when we was driving before he put us out the car. So I'm like, bro, I'm gonna give you the gun. I want you to pull the gun, and I'm gonna tell him to get out the car. Cause I knew I was gonna be in the front seat. I'm like, I want you to pull it from the back, and just tell him to get out. So we dropped. No, I didn't say that. I said if something happened, I want you to pull it on him. That's what I told him. I'm like, he's gonna take us home, but if he do something funny, pull this on him. And so and sure enough, man, he take us about a few blocks, and he just stopped. Like, y'all gotta get. It was mad sirens. He was like, y'all gotta get out. I'm like, bro, you can't. I got a gun and dope. You can't put me out in Dearborn, bro. I'm not gonna make it back to Detroit. He like, y'all gotta get out. So I looked at. I'm gonna call him Lee from this point on. I looked at Lee, and he pulled it. And I knew it was like an old Saturday night special with the pearl handle that you shoot it one time, you gotta put it back together, revolver joint. So I'm like, and I seen the guy looking at him. I'm thinking to myself like he about to take it from him, because Leon was young. He was younger. I'm like, he's gonna take it from him. So I snatched it from him. Like, man, and when I snatched it, I was like, get the fuck out, and it went off. And the driver's side window busted. He looked at me like terrified. I'm like, oh, he think I tried to pop him in the head, but I'm like, good. I'm like, I'm kicking the nigga. Now he opening the door, kick him out, get out. He mad as hell at me. And that's gonna matter later. I kick him out and we drive the car back to Detroit. So that's how it started. I didn't know that. Let me tell you a little meat for the story to explain why these dudes were so mad. So he didn't just go tell them like, he took my car. He went back and took the money, and he told them I took his car and their money. So they was at my house looking for that money, and they had the guy's crew who girl I kicked. So the guys who had the money and his soldiers were the guys I was beefing with his soldiers, and he wanted his money. He thought I had his money. He thought I had $10,000. So he found out where I lived. It's a long story how he found out where I lived at. There was this fiend. I remember I was drunk and I pulled a gun on this lady. And I guess she harbored that, and she ended up. That's how they found out where I lived at. I remember I was sitting on the porch with my boy Lee, and they drove by in this black BMW, and he was like, "That's them." He was like, "Be careful of them." I'm like, "Man, I ain't worried." I always kept my boy gun. I'm like, but one night I flipped out. One night I took him his back, and I was gonna move in with my sister. I was flipping out. I was getting too drunk, just flipping out. I'm like, I'm gonna end up dead or in jail. I'm flipping out. So one day I was with my sister, and she took me home at 1 a.m. Like the next day, she took me home at about, because I was still like adrenaline, just constantly drinking, weed, not sleeping, hustling. I had to get away from Detroit, so I went to the Southfield to my sister, and she brought me back home. And when I went to the back door, it was dark, but I just knew, like, I just saw somebody jump out from behind the garage. I'm like, ain't nobody there. Like, I'm tripping. I was super drunk. I'm knocking on the door. My brother opened the door. Boom, I go in the house. Now, let me tell you something. To really explain how deeply God saved me in this experience. The day before this happened, I had a dream, and this kind of why I went to talk to my sister about this dream. I had a dream that I was sleeping in the house in my family room, and I had a dream that I died in the dream, and I felt death. Like I felt like a deep despair, like what it felt like I had, like I couldn't, I couldn't taste no rights. I had no peace. I didn't know what it felt like. I felt like, oh, I felt death. I felt like, and I saw this big shadow thing standing in the doorway. But you know how the Bible be like when the man Lazarus, God say in the Bible there was a rich man that saw Lazarus, and he was like, the man asked just for a drop of water to be put on his tongue. So that's like water is righteousness. That's like hell is like no quenching, no feeling of goodness, nothing good, just totally cut off from God. So the day I went home, now let's go back to the story. My brothers lit me in the house, but I wouldn't go back to sleep that day because of that dream. So I'm up all night, man. I got some weed. That was about like 3, 4 in the morning. These dudes still outside. I don't know what they wait for. I don't know. They just outside. I don't know if they looking at the window. I don't know what they was planning. But I go out. I go to walk to the store, and I leave the side door. I don't leave it open. I just close it, but I don't lock it so I don't have to wake nobody up to come back in the house. As I'm walking to the store, I saw somebody going from tree to tree. And there was this man named N.O.vate that stayed across the street. We lived on Frida, Belton, and McKenzie. Then you go to Tyreman and you cross Dearborn. I see somebody going from tree to tree behind me at 3 in the morning. I'm thinking like, because I just beat N.O.vate with a hammer the day before for selling my mother a broke lawnmower. Me and Ernie beat him up with a hammer. So I'm like, is N.O.vate chasing me? Like, if he better hope he don't catch me, I'm going to beat him. I thought he was chasing me. I thought he was messing with me. So I cut through the yard into the alley to go straight to Wyoming. I just wanted to go to the gas station and buy some jokers, some papers. As I'm in the alley, I see a truck stop, and I see 2 people jump in the truck. And I go buy the papers. Then I see the truck back it up. So I go back in the alley. And then the truck go forward. I'm like, does N.O.vate does he have family? I'm still thinking like that. Like, does he got his nephew? Is somebody following me? So I started running home. I run home. By the time I get home, the door isn't just closed. The door is cracked open now. I'm like, man, maybe my little brother came looking for me. I'm like, maybe the wind blew the back door open. I go in the house. I didn't know that they came from behind the garage. Now they inside the house. Knuckleheads. Now they inside the house. But I go downstairs to smoke. When I go downstairs, the lights don't work. I'm like, oh man, I'm like, let me go upstairs and get I go upstairs to get a light bulb. When I go upstairs, I hear my dog like, I'm like, what's wrong with Spike? We got a little hot dog. I'm like, Spike, he wouldn't come. I ain't know. I think one of them niggas probably was holding a dog or something. Because he would, I couldn't go nowhere without that dog being at my heels. I'm like, where's my dog? He wouldn't come. So I just go get the light bulb. Now when I go in the basement, I hear somebody. Bro, they in the basement. I didn't know that they unscrewed the lights. They was hiding in the basement somewhere upstairs. They were all over the house. Bro, when I go in the basement, I hear something like, here he come. I heard it loud as day though. That's when I say God. So not only did God give me the dream, later on in jail, they asked each other, like, why didn't y'all kill him? He was like, because he wouldn't go to sleep. They was waiting for me to go to sleep. I just wouldn't go to sleep because I had that dream the day before that I died in my sleep. So I wouldn't go to sleep. And they were just waiting for me to go upstairs and go to wherever I was going to sleep. My little brother told me that he saw them walk. God, I don't even want to go talk about my family, but I heard that nigga, bro. He was like, here he come. So I slammed the basement door like boom. And I was just thinking, I didn't have no shoes on. I was thinking like, do I hide? Because I knew I could run in the attic and hide. But I'm like, I'm like, somebody's in this house. I knew it. I processed the whole thing, like the back door opened, the dog made the noise. I just heard somebody say, here he come. So they was waiting for me to come down there again so they could kill me. I just slammed the door and I was like, you gotta run outside. You gotta hope they just bait them, just get them out the house. I ran outside and I didn't just blindly just run like to get away. I ran and I stopped in front of the house to look, to make sure I wasn't bugging. And sure enough, I see like 11 people run. I run across the street because it was a police. It was like like a security guard that I looked up like a cop across the street, this lady. And I ran in her yard behind her car, and I'm looking. And I see like 11 of them run out the house with axes and all type of stuff. And they jumped the gate again. Some of them came out the front. Some of them went this way. Some of them went that way. No, they went out the back. Because I came out the front and I walked up the block. And I was like, I was seeing a car. I don't know if they went back into the garage. I don't know if they had stuff in the garage or if they had people in the garage. But they went back, and I remember looking at their car. Like, yeah. I remember running, so I ran to my boy crib. And I'm like, I'm screaming at his window to give me a gun. He didn't come to the window. I ain't want to bang at his door, but I was screaming at his window like, E. So I look and I see people running like from like a block and a half away. I see them coming like this. I'm like, so I run across the street. There's a tomato patch. I remember hiding in a tomato patch, just trying to catch my breath. And I could hear, I'm still thinking, am I tripping? And I could hear them like, at this point, I'm traumatized. Not really traumatized as I got, but I'm a little tripping right now. The adrenaline is running. I'm a little hallucinating. I was out of it. But I heard the niggas coming like, where is he? I'm hiding in a tomato patch with the tomatoes this high. And then I wait a little while and I get up, I look, and I run. I see this blue Escort. I'm like, I'm gonna hide in the back of this Escort. It was a bunch of fishing gear and a bunch of those foam fish. I get under the fishing gear and I start getting fish hooks in me. I'm like, I gotta get out of here, man. So I get out the Escort and I go hide somewhere. I think I go back to the tomato patch, but I go back to the Escort. This time when I go to the Escort, it's open. And I could see the boxes with my blood and stuff on it. And it's moved around like they looked in it. I'm like, okay, somebody really chasing me. So I run. I hop the gate. And all this was about an hour because I was resting for a long time. I run and hop a gate because in Detroit is house, alley. So I hop the gate and I go this way and it's a car at the end of this alley. And it's like two people at the end of this alley. I go this way, the car go, and the two people start coming. I'm like, so they got me cut off from Wyoming, from my street all the way to Prairie. It was like 30 people chasing me from that street to Prairie. They had every alley cut off to where I couldn't go this way or that way. I was going back and forth like this from like 4 in the morning for like 6 hours. The police didn't get me until about 12 o'clock. And I remember it was like 6 o'clock when they chased me out the crib. It was just starting to get daytime. They chased me for 6 fucking hours. I understood how being at war can fuck with you, bro. It ain't the war that mess with soldiers' minds. It ain't the war that put you in that place to where you start hallucinating and shit. It's the anticipating death for a long time. I was in a situation to where I thought I was gonna die for a long time one time, and that shit fucked with me. Like, we're gonna get to that part. But I knew like that's what fucks with a soldier. It ain't the death, it ain't the killing. It's being in that war, thinking you're gonna die for a long time. The mind they made to do it, it'll crack you. It'll take you somewhere you ain't think you would go. You could go mentally and physically and spiritually. So I hopped them off. So I run. I run through another yard. I do the house thing. I hit another house. I ran from Wyoming to Prairie by the time this is all said and done. But at this point, I'm still in the middle. I hop one gate, I see an axe on the ground. I'm like, damn. So when I see the axe, of course, I run to another alley. And in Detroit, we had these big garbage cans. I didn't know that the police was catching them niggas chasing me. So the police was catching them. I guess people was calling like somebody running through my yard, and the police was and they threw the axe. And I guess the police, when I got to jail, it was like 6 of them in jail. The police was catching them looking for me. I didn't know that at the time though. So one time I hid in this garbage. It was this big garbage can, man, that we used to have in Detroit, where you can get in it like this. And so I just took a few bags out and got in it. I didn't have shoes on, right? I'm in the garbage, and they come. And they lift the lid up. And I could see the light come. And they start spitting in it. Like, they spitting in the garbage. Like, then we had these wood chips on the ground. They was throwing the wood chips. I don't know if they thought I was dead. I don't know if they thought somebody else had killed me and threw me in there. They was trying to see if I would move. So they just shut the lid and ran. So I'm still in. I look. I was numb at this point. This when I said it messed with me, when I was hallucinating death for a long time. I remember sitting there, bro, and I saw something come like this. I saw a gun when they had it open, spitting in it. A gun came like this, and I'm looking at it clear as day, and it went down to my groin area, and I was like, "Please don't shoot." No, after they closed it, I was like, "Please don't shoot," and it wasn't nothing there. Nothing was there. So they came back. But this time I got deeper under the garbage. I didn't leave the can. I was sitting on the garbage, and I looked, and I was numb, and I saw they saw my foot. I'm like, oh, they could see my feet. So I got deeper under the garbage, bro. I got all the way to the bottom of the can and put all the garbage on top of me. And they came back. And when they came back, somebody opened it, and they was like, he's gone. And they kicked it. And he was like, I can't believe y'all let him get away. And they kicked it. And I could hear them arguing with each other. I don't remember. I couldn't process what they were saying, but I'm like, they fighting each other. And I'm laying, the garbage fell out, and I could see them run past it. They didn't even bend down and look. When I got older, I started reading the Bible, and I saw, like, when the Israelites will fight, God confused the Egyptians and their chariots. They started fighting each other. He'll confuse the Canaanites. He'll make the armies fight each other. That's what they did. Yep. That's what made me really submit to God later in life. I'm like, God confuse them dudes. He made them fight each other. So I crawled out the garbage can. I couldn't even get up for a little while. I'm crawling. I managed to hop the gate, and there's a garage. I opened the garage, man. Why when I opened this damn garage, I couldn't close it back. I was tired. I couldn't move. I had to rest somewhere. I opened this thing and couldn't close it. So I go inside the garage. In most garages we had a thing like a platform at the top to where you could store stuff. I climbed to the platform and the pole falls down, and the pole like ting 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 ting. I'm like, what the fuck? Couldn't catch a break, bruh. That shit was loud as hell, like ting 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 ting. Like I was calling for help in a submarine, bro. So I heard one of them behind the garage. It was a lot of hay behind the garage. I could hear them walking in the hay. And I heard one of them say, I think I know where he at. I heard him whisper it again. I'm hearing them whisper, bro. God has allowed me to hear these niggas whisper shit. I heard him say, I think I know where he at. So I jump down. I take the pipe, and I throw the pipe through this window. Now, there was a window that didn't have glass. So instead of just jumping out of that window, I threw the pipe through the window that had the glass. And then I jumped through the window that didn't have the glass. Did I do that? Yeah, because I was far back in the garage, and there was windows right there under the thing, and I knew like they're coming in the front of this thing. So I threw the thing through this glass window over here, and then I jumped out of this one, and I ran. I'd hit another yard, and there was a big monster truck. I had a little. I think the pole fell later because I took a little. No, I wasn't rested. I was under the monster truck like this with my feet and my hands connected to the monster truck. So if they look under it, they can't see me. Sometimes I'll look, and a few times I seen them running by, but I was resting like that. I'm like, if somebody come and drive off with this thing, Jesus, I'm just going to be laying on the ground looking stupid. I'm going to be driving under a truck. I knew I would have to let go. I'm like, I hope no. I'm like, this. But if somebody came out, I'm like, well, if somebody come out, I'll take it. I ain't had the strength to take it. I'll just be like, help me. Because that's what I ended up having to do. So, I couldn't hold on any longer, bro. I just fell. Boom. I'm looking like, I gotta move. So I run. And I run to this front porch. I'm about to knock on the door. And I see a car drive by. It's one of the cars that was cutting off the alley. It was a brown Monte Carlo that kept cutting off the alley, and there was a burgundy car like a Thunderbird that kept cutting off the alley, and it was the car that I took from him that kept cutting off the alleys, like a blue hatchback, like station wagon. So the nigga stops, and what happened? The nigga stopped, and I act like I'm running backwards, and he backs up, and then at least I act like I'm running back the other way, and he goes forward again to go around the block. And then I went straight. And I went one more block, and I was like, I'm at Prairie. That's when I saw the woods. And I should have ran into the woods, but I was too tired. I couldn't even move no more. I could see the woods through another yard. I'm almost at Prairie. So I see a door that's open, but it got a guard. You know how we had them guards on the door? So I'm knocking on the door while it's open. I'm like, help me, help me. A young tall guy come to the door. He like, what's up? I'm like, bro, somebody trying to kill me. Help me, bro. He like, all right, wait right there. Instantly, I knew like, man, this nigga about to shoot me. So I closed his door. I couldn't move no more, bro. And I ran. It was a door next to the door. And I punched the screen. I opened the screen and I kicked the door in. I ain't even asked no questions at this one. I couldn't move no more. I'm like, they trying to kill me. I'm like, this guy about to come out of his house. I ran around and ran one house away from him. I'm like, this guy about to come out of his house and try to kill me. I kicked his door in. Boom. Man, there's a lady sitting at the, when I go in the door, there's steps that go up right here. There's the basement right there. And there was her kitchen. You go around to her living room, but her kitchen was right there with a telephone right there. I remember it like vividly. Her and about maybe about a 12-year-old girl is sitting at the table eating, bro. So I'm bleeding from punching in the door. So I started rubbing the blood on my shirt. I'm like, man, somebody shot me. Please, can you call the police? Please, can you help me? And she like, no, you got to get out of my house. Her daughter like, mommy, please help him. So she grabbed the phone. I called the police. I'm like, man, somebody tried to kill me. She like, where y'all at? I couldn't move no more. I'm shaking and shit. I was done. She's like, where y'all at? I'm like, what's your address? Lady tell me the address. The police, I'm shot. She like, where are you? I'm like, I'm at this address. And I hang up. And the lady like, you gotta please, can you go? Now we by the phone. You really can't see. So she like, you gotta go. So I run and I go back and I open the door and I close the door and I tiptoe in the basement and I look and the little girl looking at me. I tiptoe in the basement. She ain't say nothing. I tiptoe in the basement. I couldn't run no more, boy. Little girl saw me tiptoe in the basement. She ain't say nothing. So I go in the basement and I hide under a couch until the police came, man. I couldn't move no more. That's how I got away from that. That was hell on wheels, bro. I don't know how God saved me from that. I don't know how I got away from them. So the police ended up coming and they come to the house and I came out. I was like, I'm down here. That lady was like, he's still here. She bugged out. I ain't hear the baby say nothing. That little girl knew I was down there the whole time. It was about 10 minutes. That little girl ain't say. I could hear her calling people on the phone, telling people what happened. She just calling different people. I'm down there hiding, waiting for, I'm like, I'm hoping they come. They came. They take me outside. I'm covered in dirt. I'm covered in garbage. I stink. I don't have no shoes on. I got on some brown pants and a white t-shirt. The t-shirt is black, gray. I'm covered in dirt, filth, no shoes on. They're like, are you on drugs? I'm shaking and shit. I'm like, no, man, somebody trying to kill me. The guy drive by. I look at the nigga. He looked dead in my face. I'm like, somebody trying to kill. I should have been like, there you go, right there. I'm like, I look dead at him. That's when they put me in a police car. They take me to jail for B&E, for breaking and entering. We get to the jail. The police like, you in here for stealing the car, right? Because the dudes ain't know who I was. I guess the police had them in there. I know they caught one of them with a gun in the brown car because they was talking about it while I was in. It took them a while to figure out who I was. Some of them, like I said, some of them just got caught running through people's yards. It was about 6 people in there. I don't know if they ran in somebody's house. They did. So what they did is, they hit me and this other guy at the same time. I guess they was looking for their money when they hit me and they was looking for his money when they hit him. So they was in there for some of that too. It was like 30 of them, and they called these guys from down south, from like what Big Meech used to do. That's how Big Meech built YBI. He went to the poor town of the south and he brought them hungry killers back to the city. They were in there, and the police was trying to get me to say I stole a car so they wouldn't know that I was the one they were chasing. I kept saying, nah, somebody trying to. They were like, all right, man, whatever, go to his cell. So when I was walking they took me to my cell. And man, them niggas was in there. They was talking about it. They was like, man, I can't wait to get out here. We got this nigga. I can't wait to get out, man. We gonna torture this nigga. Yeah. One of them was like, shh, like he's in here, cause he saw me with no shoes on. And that's when the other nigga just started screaming. The nigga was crazy, man. He had me thinking that he started messing with me, bro. Had me thinking something bad happened to the people I loved. I did so, but I ain't gonna go into that. I ain't gonna go into that part of the story. That doesn't glorify God of the story. But the detectives came and got me one time. And they let me see this piece of paper. And it shows something real bad that happened to somebody. And I thought it was someone close to me. And that messed me up for a little while too. You know what's funny is that somebody came to bail one of them out, and he was like, I heard him, he was yelling at them like, man, that nigga didn't take the money. Like the white boys got the money. And the nigga started screaming again, like, like y'all almost made me kill this nigga. That's why they stopped messing with me after that. They thought I took the $10,000. They went through all that shit, and I didn't even have that money. That's why God saved me from that shit. Them niggas knew, like, man, when my mother came to get me, I didn't have no shoes on, no nothing. Because the lady and her daughter came. The lady came there. And she was like, he didn't break in my house. They was trying to kill him. I guess she found out. I guess by then the neighborhood was talking. Like, that's the one they was trying to kill. Like, he didn't break in my house. Like, he was trying to save his life. Like, my daughter saved him. I heard her daughter talking. Lady came there with her daughter, cuz. I heard her daughter talking, so they dropped the charges. My mother came and picked me up. I heard the lady's daughter talking. Like, he didn't break in our house, like they was trying to kill him. Somebody shot him. They know he did, but that's what she thought I was shot. Little girl probably thought I died in her basement. I bet she still remember that. That was my little angel, boy. That lady would have put me out the house, and I would have left. That little girl saved my life. So my mother came and took me home from that. And that made me change my life, man. That's why I tell these stories. You got to look back at the things God saved you from when you've been in them streets, man. Sometimes when I minister to young man, I tell them something. When they tell me their stories, I be like, so you don't think God saved you? I was lucky. No, I just had that. I had that gut instinct. Like, no, brother. All them gut instinct moments, that was God saving you, giving you time to come into a knowledge of him. People got callings on their life, man, that the devil see before we see it, bro. That's what you got to understand about life. The devil will see your calling before you see it. Even stuff you've been through as a child, he'll see like there's a hedge of protection around that child. He'll see it. He'll try to take you out of here before you get to come into a knowledge of Christ. It's all about giving your life to Christ. Come, save me. Give me your Holy Spirit. Allow your Holy Spirit to change me. Rearrange me, like save me from my own self. That's what God did for me. He'll save you from yourself. He'll chastise those he loves, eh? I'll tell you, these past 5 years I've been chastised, and I don't got to talk about that and get narcissistic like God did this. No. When God chastises you, that's between you and him. You don't go to school and tell people about the whoopings you got. But he will chastise you and bring you to him. But it's about believing him, asking Jesus to come into your heart, asking Jesus to be your Savior, asking Jesus to give you the strength to hear your Father, to get close enough to him to lean on his chest like John the Baptist, like John the disciple did. When they was at the Last Supper, the Bible said he was leaning on Jesus' chest. I want to hear your heartbeat.